All right. Anyone following closely already knew. I announced this a while back with a community post on the channel, but I also wanted to do a dedicated video and explain a few things. A number of months ago, this channel faced a lawsuit. I won't be going into precise details on that, aside from an accounting overview, which was originally promised, but what I will say is that it's over, and I'm happy with the outcome. Just to briefly info dump, I'll make this video kind of as short and sweet and precise as possible. I paid a few $100s here and there for consultations initially, then $2,500 for a session with Randazza Legal Group, which rolled over into billable hours. After that, I placed down a $25,000 retainer for their services, generally speaking, Randazza Legal. And there was a $3,900 monthly bill, a $3,500 monthly bill, a roughly $2,000 then $400 set of monthly bills, which were covered by the rollover billable hours from the initial consultation, and then a $1,300 bill at the conclusion when the retainer itself was returned. In total, the entire series of events cost about $11,000 US, start to finish, which I had originally stated would be deducted from the crowd funds, with the remaining balance returned and refunded to donors. However, what's far more important here, more important than the numbers or the accounting, is that I want to thank everyone who contributed to the crowdfund, as well as talk about some pretty big things on a channel wide level in the future. And I want to back that appreciation up with actions. See, there's this thing in the creator sphere where far too often people abuse the concept of crowdfunding. The reality here is that I had something I needed help with, and the audience, all of you watching this, came together over the course of one day and gave me roughly $30,000 to work with. That level of support is basically impossible to ever repay, but I figured that the closest I could ever get was to make it an ultimate priority to not even use that money, despite it being earmarked for that purpose, and return all of it to the people who donated. I'm happy to say I succeeded in that. It took a while. I had to go through GoFundMe directly as a platform, but everyone who donated should now have received a full refund to their original payment method. Upper Echelon has paid the legal costs out of pocket rather than spending any of the money pledged by the community. The thing about social media is that it facilitates parasocial relationships, so a lot of you feel like you know me, but the honest to God truth is you don't. I've made some pretty bad mistakes in my life before. I haven't always been responsible or even ethical in the past. I like to think I learn and improve and do my best, obviously. But this was something where I had a pretty obvious right and wrong way to handle it, in my view. So I paid the costs myself and made sure that everything was refunded to donors. In a world where crowdfunding is becoming more and more common, it seemed like this was the only real way to accurately show that I reciprocate the appreciation and support that was shown to me by an audience who's been around for quite a while now, even when I have bad takes or shit videos and bounce between topics like a ping pong ball. You don't know all the details of my personal life, to say the very least, and I'm certainly not going to put them out there now. But I haven't always appreciated things or people, especially when I should have. So this felt like something tangible I could do, so I did it. With that said, there are ways to support the channel monetarily if you want to do so, but only if you want to. There's Patreon, monthly subscription, and then for people who don't like Patreon because of political or administrative reasons, which is understandable, there's Locals, which is basically the exact same thing. These are platforms where you can give $1 or $2 or $5 per month, whatever you choose, and you don't really get anything for that other than funding the continued operation of the channel itself. But that's the mechanism I want to rely on rather than asking everyone to bail me out of something where it's honestly not your responsibility to do so. So yeah, links are down below. Lastly, if anyone has a desire to support the channel but doesn't want to use monthly subscriptions, but also wants to get something in return for it, I am finally able to announce, and this has been a long time coming, that there is an entire Upper Echelon professional merchandise line now. I partnered up with a company called Agent Inc. a while ago. They're handling the design, production, and distribution, which means we have actual collections now with a pre-order window opening right now as I post this video for the next 30 days. I wanted there to be values associated here. Historically, I've been pretty shit when it comes to merchandise. I would have one thing here, one thing there, and no actual cohesive vision of why or consistency on when. But with this, it's got an actual message. The world is completely fucked right now. I think everyone can see that as a result of technology, social media. In my opinion, very soon AI will be a large factor in that. And the kind of think for yourself, unplug, get away from the system type message is what the merchandise line is about. Those are the values that we want to project with it. Question everything, don't believe lies, critical thinking, anti-social media. That's the vibe we're going for. And people over at Agent Inc., all the team members over there, have done a tremendous job bringing that to life. This means there is now a consistent merchandise line for the channel overarching at large, like the whole thing, with a professional touch, and you can use the link down below to check out the 30-day pre-order. I'll announce further drops when they happen. This will be a consistent part of the channel now, but it seemed like a good idea to synchronize this with other major announcements rather than just tacking it on to some random video. Bottom line, I know it's a shorter thing and this isn't the normal content that the channel posts, but the lawsuit is over. Costs were paid out of pocket, so everyone who donated gets a complete full refund. If you want to support, you can do so with locals and Patreon, which is much appreciated, or a brand new merchandise line. But just by watching this, you've already supported. So thank you for that, and I'll see you next time. Have a nice night.